Welcome back to NBA Cinema. So, man, we got Kevin Durant finally coming out addressing the rumors that, he was dangled out there for Jimmy Butler. Before he was dealt to the Golden State Warriors, there's some substantiated rumors out there that, they wanted to bring in Jimmy and trade KD down to Miami. Now, Kevin Durant is coming out and giving his spiel. We all saw him go back and forth with Kendrick Perkins over the weekend. But now we hear from KD because the trade deadline is over and a lot of things are true after the trade deadline. You have people in new places, but you also have some bruised egos after trade deadline, especially when it's out there that you were potential trade bait, especially when you're someone who is as great as Kevin Durant. Now, we're going to get into what Ramona Shelbourne said first. And Kevin Durant, he has some interesting words when talking about this. Now, he kept it professional, but he did say some words that would lead you to believe that he was emotional throughout this process. Let's check it out.
The word I would use, he said glum, I'll use toxic. Wow. like that shoot around yesterday I heard was very awkward, very weird in Oklahoma City because everybody was on pins and needles wondering what they were going to do. And I think now you have this reset where how do you move forward as a team when there was a clear mandate here, like they have to do something. And if they're not able to get anything done, which is, as we say, you talked about it in the open, there's aprons, there's all this stuff. I mean, it's really hard to do something. And the thing they were trying to do did not come to fruition because Kevin Durant said no.
A lot swirling with your name the last few days with the trade deadline. Just to get it right out the way with you as far as how you're feeling about that in terms of the first thing with the Warriors and Suns just talking about you before the deadline.
We try to get my thoughts on it?
Yes.
It's just business, man. It's just part of the business, Everybody's bought and sold in this league, so anybody can be up for auction, you know what I mean? So I understand that. It's just about getting back on the court, trying to go out there and play the game that I love, It's a part of the business, though, man. We all got to understand that.
And James was talking about you being a pro and that you've heard it before throughout your career, like this is nothing new. But on the flip side, also, it was out there that they were trying to trade you for Jimmy. So I'm asking, how do you feel about that?
I've been around noise before, where whole spotlights on your team and people got so much to say about the group. Yeah, I've been through that before. And like I said, I understand the business, and that's what we all signed up for. And nobody's above the system, as much as, how much status I got and how much I've acquired in this league, you're still not above the business, and I always understood that. So it's about doing the best I can on the floor, man, and focusing on that, keeping the main thing. The business, that'll take care of itself.
Speaking of business, the other thing I had was, moving forward with you, you obviously you could have signed a 1-year extension. Now they were talking about a 2-year extension. Does all of this make you think differently about the organization moving forward?
No, I always had a goal of just playing my contract out and seeing what happens. I can't focus on a year and a half down the line. I try to focus on the day ahead of me. And, I know that'll be a topic. That's probably the most frustrating part about being in trade talks is that the microscope won't be on solely just me the rest of the season. And my body language, how I speak to you guys after the games, how I'm looking on the bench, that stuff would be magnified. Which sucks, but like I said, that's a part of the business I got to just deal with and accept. But if I keep the main thing, then that could be the main focus. If we turn around and play well, people focus on that.
Kevin, for clarity's sake, so we can get back to basketball shortly after this. Your relationship with the front office before the trade deadline as opposed to after the trade deadline, do you feel like it's still the same, or has it changed at all?
I always keep my relationships under wraps. I don't think I should be speaking on our personal relationships out to the public. I don't think that's fair to the people involved in that. So I'm out here to do my job and to do it the best as I can and support everybody in the building as much as I can. And that's always been my goal every time I step in here.
And you've seen this KD button sort of effect before, right? You've seen this KD button effect, as you've called it before. We're going into Monday of that week. Your name wasn't really out there at all, and then all of a sudden you were all over TVs all week.
Yeah, like I said, it's a part of the game. And it's a double-edged sword when you build yourself up to be this great and you do it for this long. You know, shit like that happens. You know, it's not a bad thing that people around the league want me to play for them. It's not a bad thing that my organization here is fighting off people to keep me on the team, or even dangle me in trades. That's just part of being a part of the high demand. So I can understand that part of it. This is the most important thing, though, when that ball is bouncing and we're in here together as a union, as a family. So I look forward to that every day. Yeah, I heard Ramona Shelbourne come out and say our locker room is toxic. And I try to tell people who's not around this game as much, is that it's easy to say our locker room is not connected when you come in there 45 minutes before and guys are in their game modes. We're not talking to each other. 4 or 5 guys might be in the training room. A few guys might be in the weight room. It's not a welcoming environment right before the game. You know what I'm saying? And that's just part of getting ready to play. So I think it's unfair and lazy to categorize our team as toxic when you come in there for 5 minutes throughout 4 months. That's the only time you've been in our locker room. Then you can make a narrative. I don't think that's fair to us, but like I said, that's part of the game. It's part of the business we signed up for. Shit's not fair in this game, but we got to deal with it and accept it.
So I'm going to be honest. When I heard that, Kevin Durant, a few things he said in there lets me know he's a little bit emotional about that. When he talked about bought, sold, auction, using those words, he definitely has some feeling towards it. And then when he says, when you build yourself up to be this great for so long, you kind of tooting your own horn a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that. You sell yourself as a player. But it did let me know that he was in his feelings a little bit when you speak that way. And that could have also been, a shot at not Kevin Durant, but Kendrick Perkins, letting them know, they still want me to play. Even if I'm getting traded, that means there's an interest in me and what I could bring to their team. Now, I was one of those guys that thought, before Kevin went to Phoenix, I would have thought adding him to what Miami had when Jimmy Butler, was leading that team to the finals. I thought that would have been the guy they needed to put them over the hump back then. But, it didn't work out that way. And it was good to see KD come out and actually speak about this and give his side of it. Ramona said that the whole locker room is toxic and all that. Now, that can be a product of a few things. I think sometimes when you don't have the proper leadership in the locker room, a locker room can seem toxic when it's just out of order, so to speak. I guess that is a piece of toxicity and can lead to more toxicity, but I think maybe the team just don't have a leader, don't have that voice in the locker room. But I don't think the narrative that they're trying to paint as far as toxic, when you say those words, it's going to be him, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and it's going to be painted as if they don't like each other. I don't think that's the case, though. That's what I'm trying to say about the toxicity and the levels of it. I don't get the impression him and Devin Booker don't like each other. I think those personalities are just ho-hum. And I think when we saw a young Booker and DeAndre Ayton who was able to get to the finals, and Mikal Bridges, can't forget about him, those guys, Chris Paul was that voice. Chris Paul was the leader of the team. So you can't overlook the impact of players that are both good, Hall of Fame type player Chris Paul was, but also the leader of the team. You even seeing it with the Spurs being a little bit better this year. And so I think you just have a team of hoopers. And that's why you can't just have hoopers on a team. You have to have leadership, pecking order in different facets of the game. You have pecking order as far as who gets the ball on the court, how many touches this person gets and all that. That's a part of it, yes. But also you have a pecking order as far as, whose voice is being heard in the huddles. Who is the pregame speech guy? Who is the halftime locker room? Y'all need to wake up player that does it. It's good for your coach to do it. it's also good to have someone who's on the floor with you, who's in those games, or even not even playing as much, but embraces that role. Because it's understood in the NBA, everybody's a high level player, so you do have a right to speak. Who embraces that role day in and day out to stabilize the team? Who brings these personalities together? That goes back to what Perk was saying about how he did icebreakers with, um, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant, with those guys being the guys in OKC, and Serge Ibaka and them. Like how he got all the personalities to mesh well enough, because that's gonna matter at some point. Um, when you have to be critical of one another, the fact that y'all tight, you understand that it's coming from a good place, rather than there being some weird tension already present. And when someone tries to call you out in the game, now y'all on the sideline about to fight each other because you don't know that person like that to be talking to you like that. So yeah, man, I'm looking at this, and I don't know if Ramona's telling the truth or KD's telling the truth, but it's going to be interesting to monitor over the course of the next few weeks and throughout the rest of this season. Will they even get in the postseason? Um, we'll be looking for all that, right? But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time.